Hey y'all.
Welcome to Rum Punch and Beignets with your favorite teedies, TDB and
TD Dime. We're here to give you our unfiltered opinions on current events and everyday life.
So sit back, relax with your favorite drink as we give you this
TD
realness.
Welcome to a new episode of Rum Punch and Beignets podcast with your hosts TDB and TD Dime. All right. So today's episode is about breaking generational curses.
Yes.
And we've been vulnerable. We telling all our family business on this episode.
Shit, we done told most of it already. We might as well keep going.
We really have. But before we get started into the business, let's talk about blue mics, okay? So blue mics help creators of all kinds find and raise their voices by making the coolest microphones and headphones on the planet. Here at Boo Crew Media, we use blue mics on every episode to bring you the professional sound you are now hearing. To learn more about blue mics and purchase a blue mic, check out bluemic.com. Okay?
All right. Yes. Shout out to Blue Mic.
Check out our Instagram too, because we tag Blue Mic in a lot of stuff, especially when we're recording. And like they're really good.
So let's get into this episode, breaking generational curses.
So yeah, we're gonna be addressing that. And before we get into it, I guess we'll just do like our background or whatever. Let's be honest. Our grandparents made mistakes. Hell, our parents made buku mistakes. Mm-hmm. As we discussed on the sexual episode, my parents realized a bunch of mistakes in parenting that they made. You know, now that we're adults.
Right.
But we have to be, I wouldn't even say unfortunately, but I feel like we've been charged as a generation to break the curses in more ways than one. I already feel like I've broken a few curses, family curses per se. My grandparents, both sets, had children young. My parents had us young. At some points in my life, we did struggle, but by the time my parents were like my age, like 35, they had teenage children. So everything they did was for us. Like they never really got to have all the experiences that we've been able to have, you know, with or without children. For a little bit of time that they did struggle, I knew that I couldn't repeat a lot of the same mistakes that they made.
Right.
I decided in my teenage years that I wouldn't be a young parent. First struggle, because for a minute they weren't even married. My parents would get married till I was like 10.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now that I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah. So they have not always been married. They're divorced now, actually, but they have been together for like probably 15 years or something by the time I was 10. And then they finally decided to get married, like in my mama's living room, like with a justice of the peace. After all this damn time, I'm 10. My brother may have been like 13. Mm-hmm. And so, you know.
Just to get a divorce. Ain't that crazy?
Bitch, listen. And then, yeah, that's the crazy part. Like they end up getting a divorce. Like, how old was I? They got an official divorce. They were separated my senior year of high school. So, yeah, I was like 17, 18. Yeah, I was 18. Yeah.
So they only stayed married for like 8 years.
Yeah, married for like 8 years, but together for like
forever.
Shit. Yeah. Because they was together before I even was born, before we were even born. So yeah, for like 20 some odd years. And then they finally got official divorce. Like I was in college. I was like 20 years old. I was like a sophomore in college. And I remember my neighbor, because you know when you get divorce papers or you have to serve your spouse, you can't give it to them. You have to pick somebody that's not related to you to serve the papers, or else it's not valid.
Right.
Shout out to my mama being a notary and a paralegal at one point. That's why I know that. She done had to serve buku people. I remember when I was a kid and I used to play hooky. She made me come to work with her. So that's how I learned like office skill, organization, how to use office appliances or whatever, right. You know, make copies and so on and so forth.
She put you to work for real.
She did. Like that's why I'm so organized. And that's why I'm so like meticulous about shit because of that. But yeah, like they divorced. Let me see. Yeah, I was like 20, and I remember I had to take the papers, the envelope, to my neighbor, and my neighbor had to like tell my daddy or pretend she needed my daddy to come like do something.
Mm-hmm.
And or come fix something because my daddy's really handy.
Right.
Anybody that listens to the show that knows my daddy know. And so she was like, "Hey, you know, I need you to come over here. I got something I need fixing. I know you know how to do it." And that's what she gave him the papers. Like she
I know he was mad. He probably cussed her out.
He was. He still remembered it. And
I wouldn't forget it.
I talk to my daddy every week, and at least once a month he bring that up about the time my neighbor served him them divorce papers.
She down bad for getting in the middle of that. Your mama could have got anybody, and she chose the neighbor. Now that's some messed up shit. That's some fucked up ass shit.
And what's crazy is like my daddy know the lady, like, you know, he know the lady. He done helped her, like she damn near family because we've been knowing this woman for like forever. But having divorced parents, that's another curse that I've been tasked to break. A successful marriage, because my parents didn't make it, and they just had a lot of shit wrong with them. I didn't know until I got older to realize that shit was fucked up. Right. The one good thing I can say about my parents were we never saw them fight. We knew they probably had arguments, but like that's the one good thing. They never let us see them fight or beef out or whatever. And you know, that's a good thing I would like to take from them, but I got to break the curse of not being a young parent.
Right. Well, you
well, yeah. What?
That's broken. Next.
Yeah, because like my daddy was, how old? I think my mom was like 18. So like when imagine being 18 and walking across the graduation stage and you got a stomach, like.
Yeah.
She think about that all the time.
Sound like Nikki Parker to me.
Sometimes I think that's why I be watching the Parkers, cause it's like a piece of my life almost.
Right.
But no, like, you know, I feel like all the pressure is on me to do all this shit to like break the curse of being financially stable and better than them with finances and credit, to be better than them in relationships, to be better than them if I ever become a parent, which I doubt.
Here she go, yo.
Y'all, if y'all can see my mom on Facebook, she really be, oh gosh, she's so egg. The closer she get to 60 and the more children my siblings keep having, the worse she gets. Like you gotta okay, so backstory. I know I do this a lot on the show. So in my family, twins run in my family. So my mother is a twin and my daddy had a twin. So
dang, it's on both sides?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we fucked, okay? and what makes it so bad is my grandmother had twin brothers, my dad's mom. So she had twin brothers. And then my daddy had a twin. And then my mama got a twin sister. And my brother, I have twin nieces. And one is named after me. My brother swears she acts like me. Every time I FaceTime that girl, I be looking in my face like, look, girl, go sit down somewhere. But anyway, so apparently because I have parents who have twin siblings, it has hit twice. Out of the 5 of us, nobody is a twin.
So it skips a generation.
Yes.
So
I consider that twin thing a generational curse because I don't want none of that.
Well, I mean, technically, you skip that. Because one, you're not having kids at this moment in time. You say you're not having kids.
No.
If you do have kids, you might have twins.
Shit, quadruplets.
Bless your heart. That's all I can say. Bless it. Because girl, do you see the look on my face? What the fuck? What?
And see, a lot of people don't know that, like, about my parents. So they literally are like, and 2 twins married a twin. Yep.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I'm hoping to break that curse also of the twin, quadruplets, sextuplets, whatever. But it's like I'm realizing I got so much shit on my shoulders to be, because I kind of almost am the black sheep of the family because I'm the one that lives the furthest away. I don't come home a lot. I barely really call or FaceTime. And, you know, they always consider me like the weird one. Like I've always been the weird one. Or the one that and because I'm the oldest daughter, I have to break the curse of like doing everything for everybody. Like I have to get over that.
Right.
Like that's caused so much trauma in my life with having like in a career with having a feeling like I have to do everything all the time. But my mama is like that though, but she's not the oldest. She like the eighth.
Not even the second, girl. I thought she was about to be like, she the second.
No.
Maybe the third.
No, nigga, my mama and my aunt, because they twins, they literally are the eighth children. My grandma always count them as one. She don't never, even though they two separate people, she always count them as one. I'm like, you can't do that. They don't even look alike. You can't count them as one person.
She said they came out this cat once.
Girl, I hate even talking to her. Like, get her started on this shit. But yeah, like, you know, her and my mama and my daddy, like, because of the mistakes they made, you know, back to the original cause of the show, the subject of the show, because of a lot of mistakes that they made, you know, they always put a lot of pressure. I'm always the one to take it to heart, like, literally. So I always feel like I have a lot of pressure on my shoulders because I feel like I got to live up to whatever goals they think I need to achieve or what, you know, I got to be the one to break the curse of being a single parent, being a divorced parent, or struggling and all of that.
Right. I understand.
Or abusive relationships and, you know.
And I feel like that's a struggle a lot of firstborns have to go through, especially girls. I'm sorry, y'all.
If y'all could see the faces I be making sometimes during the show, and B just be looking at me like,
I wish y'all could have saw that. That was funny.
Something hit me kind of deep.
But like I was saying, I feel like a lot of firstborn individuals, they feel that type of trauma where they have to set the standard for everyone, or usually they are the standard for everyone. And that's a lot of pressure to put on.
I really get tired of being the standard for everybody. Like, don't follow me.
Right, because I'm not all that.
I am not.
Please believe me.
I am not the example. To me personally, I think I'm all of that.
I ain't shit, to be honest.
But to me, for self-esteem purposes, yes. But for otherwise, don't follow me. Yeah, I am not the leader of the pack. Don't follow me because I done made some fucked up choices, but luckily none of the choices that I made have cost me no bad shit. But yeah, don't follow me. I ain't nobody example for nothing. Don't ask me nothing. I can't give you no advice on nothing because you ain't finna say, "Dime ruin my life." No, the fuck you are not.
Nope. That was your choice to follow me.
Don't listen to me.
But just to piggyback off of what you said, I definitely agree because, like I've mentioned before, I was raised, you know, in a single parent home. I was raised with my family for the most part, and I've witnessed a lot of things of how they handled situations, their love life, their financial struggles, just a lot of things that they had to deal with in life, and I learned from it. And like I'm an observer. So I prefer to learn from other people's mistakes, even though I make a lot of mistakes. And sometimes I repeat mistakes. I'm just, you know, that's another subject. We're not even going to get into that.
That's kind of like Mercury retrograde, like years over time. It just keep giving you the same fucking lesson. And then it'd be like, bitch, did you learn this time?
I don't know. Maybe I got to try it next year. I ain't going to lie. Sometimes, depending on what the subject is, man, sometimes I fuck up on purpose just to see if something different going to happen. But again, like I said, I digress. Not even the subject right now.
Man, after the show, we need to see when the retrogrades this year because last year felt like one big ass retrograde, okay?
Exactly. But like my mama went through a lot. My grandparents, my auntie, like they all went through a lot, from abuse, from alcoholism, financially struggling, from lack of love, lack of self-esteem, like all different types of stuff. And that really has shaped me and how I decided to go on my journey and what steps I would have to take to maneuver through life. And then it's like, it allowed me to understand what patterns kept repeating themselves over time, which ones were changing but still could be improved, and it let me understand like what was really plaguing my lineage and what I needed to do to make it better for the future and how I can help my family continue to grow. So just living that life, or just really being aware of my situation and my family situation, helped me to understand. Because like I said, my grandma came from the country. She used to pick cotton. Like, she was picking cotton. My grandfather was picking cotton.
Side note, that is just so crazy. We are in 2021, and our grandparents literally used to pick cotton when they were children. Like my grandma,
depending on where they were living, yes, they were picking cotton.
Like you know, like my parents are from Mississippi. My grandparents, that's where they been. That's where they born. I can remember stories of like my grandmother, and I think that's why she was so hard on us about doing better and breaking that curse of having to work so hard, because she quit school in the 6th grade. Like, she was 11 years old to go work in a cotton field. Do you know that was like in the last like century? Yeah. Nigga, that just really blows my mind.
Let me blow your mind even more, because my mother is 55. She has a cousin. They're around the same age. And they vividly remember, like there's a story of them vividly remembering when their parents, my mama's cousin, like her first cousin, their parents were picking cotton, and they were pulling him or her, I don't remember if it was a girl or boy, but pulling the cousin on like a little burlap, little sack, while they was picking cotton. And he or she's only like 50-something years old. So again, that's not even a full century. That's a half a century.
That literally, okay,
so that's gonna fuck your head up even more. Like, that's what we had to go through. That's the life we had to live. And being that they were in the country, of course they got everything a little later. They everything happened later for them.
Right.
So my family, they didn't want to live that life anymore. They didn't want to have to struggle. They didn't want to have to pick cotton all their life. They wanted to live a life of luxurious, pastimes. They wanted to live the life that they felt they deserved. Of course they deserved. Right. And so I've been able to watch them, and I watched like my papa. He really changed the game for me, and he instilled in me like this hustler spirit. He instilled in me wanting more and to be independent and getting it for myself, because he was born in Vidalia, Louisiana, Mississippi. He was born in Vidalia.
Wait, is it Illinois?
No.
Because on a Christmas episode, wait, where did you say he used to go? You said he used to go to, was it Illinois? Or was it Mississippi?
No, my papa didn't like going to Mississippi. He didn't. He only went a couple of times. I want to say my papa probably been to Mississippi maybe, I'll say 3 times. And he was married to my grandma for over 50 years, like almost 60 years. And she's from Mississippi. So, no, he was from Vidalia. I can't remember. I know it's I think it's, bitch, you know what? I just don't know. I have bad memory, y'all. But I know my papa's from Vidalia, and that's in the country. You got to go through, like, Baton Rouge and all that shit to get there. Like, yeah, it's that way.
So it's, like, way, like, westward.
Yeah.
In the middle of, oh, shit. Yeah. Okay.
I want to say it's, like, borderline Mississippi, borderline Louisiana. I really don't know.
We're going to have to Google that because I'm interested.
Yeah, and it's a small-ass little town, but he never wanted to live in that life. He always knew he was bigger than that, so he moved to New Orleans as soon as he graduated. Mm-hmm. He got his fucking license in barbering. He found him a good-ass job, and he hustled. Like, he made sure he could provide. He started a family, amongst other things. We're gonna leave that shit in the past. But he started a family, he provided, he did what he needed to do, and he loved to floss. He loved to like look good. Like my papa, he had gold everything. Like he had gold rings on just about every finger.
So he was Trinidad James
He
before
was
Trinidad James?
he was Trinidad James and 2 Chainz before they even came. Like my nigga had his gold chains. He had his little monogram piece with his name, you heard me? And it's spelled Willie.
Papa was sharp.
It's spelled Willie with the 2 diamonds. My grandpa did not believe in anything cheap. It had to be expensive. And if it was expensive, he was going to tell you, don't bring that shit to me. I don't want it.
But you know why, though?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, like our elders, they really grew up like poor.
Exactly. He did not
and
want that.
that's why they be stunned so hard.
Exactly. You can't. My papa was so fucking finicky, y'all. When it came down to even ice cream. You could not get him no general, no name fucking ice cream.
It's got to be name brand.
He wanted Blue Bell, and he called it was brown velvet before it was turned to Blue Bell, bitch. So he called it brown velvet. Go bring me that brown velvet. That's all that's all I like. It's Blue Bell, papa. You know what I mean? That shit. That's all he ate. My papa did not play. He had his gators. He had his fly hats, his suits, everything. And my grandma, she was the same way. She believed in having everything look good around her. Like her house was spectacular. It was immaculate. Like you could not fuck around in her house.
Did she have a room that you can't go in except for the holidays?
Of course. She had 2 of those rooms. Okay. She had a living room. And it's crazy how the house was set up. Like we had the front room, we had the front door, and then we had a side door. You were not allowed to come up that front door unless you were a guest. Straight up.
You better go through the side.
Like straight up, she did not play that, and she had plastic on all her stuff. It was like real nice.
I thought my grandparents were the only but apparently no. That's
all
just
black people live the same life. Obviously,
they have to, because my grandma, she used to have plastic on her upholstery in her car. She used to have like it was like a Ford something. It looked like a little box, and like it had these caramel color seats. And she used to have plastic on them. Boy, God. When we used to have to go to Mississippi for the summertime and we ride in the car with her and then get stuck on the plastic.
Lord. Now, they didn't go that far, but my grandparents, they had leather seats. So my papa, he loved, again, he's a stunter. He was a stunter, and he liked to stunt on people. He always talked about how he was one of the first to have a Cadillac in the neighborhood.
That's why you like that.
I am. I am that bitch. I am. But like, he was a stunt. Like, I was one of the first to have the Cadillac, and he had. I remember that Cadillac. It was a gray Cadillac. It had burgundy leather seats. It had this very distinct smell. It was almost like a mix of mothballs. Bitch. And fucking cologne, bitch, like mixed together. It was a weird smell, but over time I grew to love it. Like, I've never smelled that ever again. It was like mothballs, leather, and cologne mixed together. It was amazing.
Oh my gosh. Fucking mothballs.
But going back into it, like them going through that, like that was a curse that my papa and me always set out to break, and they did break it. They were one of the first to have their own homes, especially in the neighborhood that they had. But they were one of the first black people in the particular neighborhood that they're in right now to ever live there and actually own their home. They didn't rent it; they owned it. And I always was like, I want to do that. Like, I want to make sure that I keep that alive. That house needs to continue to thrive. Like, that needs to continue to be the family house. But on the flip side of that, they had a lot of areas where they struggled, as you know, such as love. Like, I have never actually witnessed a relationship that was really based on love. I've witnessed relationships that were based on, that was situational based, that was financial based, that was just comfortability based, but it was never true love. Like,
it wasn't like I love the hell out of you and we together because I love you.
No, it was like, bitch, I'm stuck with you now. Like, that's basically what it was.
But that's how a lot of like our mamas and papas, like, we gotta be honest about that. Cause I see this a lot of men ask, How did our momos and popos stay together for so long?
They settled.
For 60. That's basically what it comes down to. And they want people, a lot of men that ask that question, they tend to have the attitude of they want women to be okay with some bullshit.
No.
I
mean, back then, the reason why they were okay with that was because it was already embedded in their minds.
And then it was survival based.
Right.
Also.
They had to have somebody that was going to be able to take care of them. Mm-hmm. If they found somebody that was going to take care of them, they were not leaving. Period. They was going to put up with whatever it was. And I feel like that's what my Mimi and my Papa basically did. They were attracted to each other at first, of course. Mm-hmm. But my Mimi saw an opportunity to get out of the life that she had. Mm-hmm. And my Papa found an opportunity to have someone that would take care of him whenever he needed. So they was like, fuck it, let's just get together. You do what you want to do. I'm gonna do what I do. And we just gonna have this life. That's basically what it was.
That's why a lot of momos and popos, if we're gonna be honest about that, also momos and popos got most of the popos.
Yeah,
got extra churn.
Exactly.
Back then, they could afford to take care of extra family because of the jobs they had.
Exactly, because the cost of living at that time.
Yes. Okay. Yes. But let's be honest now. That's a curse that we all trying to break.
Exactly.
It's to be with somebody that we love and that we care. Not to negate the provider portion of this, but to break the curse of being with somebody because we need something, or it's a financial need, or we ain't got this, I'm gonna be with you because you can provide this, or I don't want to do it, so you gonna do this.
No,
let's break that. First of all,
I always believe that relationships, partnerships should be a give and take type of thing. It should be very mutual. It should be reciprocated. Like, I want you to take care of me like I would take care of you, and I don't want to feel like I have to come to you for everything, but I want to feel like I can come to you. Right.
When I need to, right. I don't have to question.
I want you to be my safe haven. Like, I want you to be the person, like, when after I done came from dealing with all this bullshit out in the world, that I can come to you and I can, be safe. I can be vulnerable. I can be myself. I can't do that if I always feel like I'm on guard with you.
Right.
I can't do that if I always feel like we gonna bump heads, or I have to walk on eggshells because I don't know how you gonna feel about this.
Right. And that's how those relationships, for the most part, were back then.
Exactly.
And we striving to do better and not even just a relationship, but like a partnership, period. Like, we striving to do better in that area, the finances, how we build a family out and not building a family out of necessity.
Right.
Or building a family because we feel like it's time and it's ready. We're ready, and not because, if I have this many kids, then I can work this out like this or whatever. I'm sorry, y'all. My grandma was that lady. Cause how I just told y'all earlier, she used to count my mama and my auntie as one. As one. Mm-hmm. So my grandmother has how many children? Shit. One. I think my grandmother has like 9 children. If you count them as both, 9 children. And that was on some, I'm a single mother now, I'm gonna keep going.
Right.
Since this where I'm at, this was going. And she still kind of has that attitude almost where she got all these grandchildren and great grandchildren, but she always, because she's spoiled, and we give it to her. I ain't gonna lie, we give it to her because she deserves. She took care of everybody. Right. She put a bunch of us through college, but she still has that attitude of, I did this, so I deserve this.
Girl, for you to even say that's a nerve that triggers me a lot, because I feel like
you too.
Yes. Parents had that bad back in the day. Like, my Mimi had that bad.
Well, I did, so you got to do.
Like, you owe me. Like, my and I love that lady to death, but she always had this mentality as if her kids owed her because she brought them in the world. But at the end of the day, they didn't ask you to bring them into this world. That's
another curse we got to break in the Black community specifically. Exactly. Just because we birth children or birth something doesn't mean that we are owed because
anything. No,
just because you here, right? It's like that. You are my child. You are my responsibility. As B said, you my responsibility. You not some something that I'm supposed to some piggy bank I can cash in on.
Yep.
Now that you grown up and can take care of yourself. Like, stop that thinking. Or I hate that for a long time, my mom used to do this thing when my daddy moved out and they were separated. She would call somebody throughout the house. And most of the time it'd be me. Because I'm the older sister.
Right.
Me. And if I'm home, I got to come see what she want. Get the remote. Go get my phone. Go answer the phone. Like, stop doing that to your children, please.
Girl, I remember this one time. My Mimi used to kill me with this, boy. So how my Mimi house was set up, she had the den all the way towards the front, and the kitchen was towards the back of the house. Mm-hmm. So I used to, during a certain time, everybody know their grandma used to watch their stories. They used to watch either Wheel of Fortune, The Price is Right, and then they'll watch their stories.
Young and the Restless at 11 o'clock.
Exactly. So every day, Monday through Friday, at a certain time, starting probably like 10 o'clock, starting up until about 3 o'clock, they had their story time. So nobody was allowed to watch the den TV.
And you better not go outside during the summertime either, because you're not coming back in till she get through.
Exactly. So I'm sitting in the back kitchen watching TV, giving her time to watch her stories. I remember this lady, she was calling me down. Brittany, come here. And I'm thinking something was truly wrong. I'm like, yes, Mimi, what's wrong?
And she wants you to get the fucking remote.
Pass me the remote. Ask me what a remote was.
On the coffee table by her, and she was on the couch.
Right there on the fucking side, the end table, bitch. She's sitting in the middle of the couch, the end table right over there. And she said, can you pass me the remote control? I looked at that. I said, Mimi, this remote control right here? Yeah. You couldn't get that? Girl, give me that remote control. All right, Mimi. I wanted to hum that thing on her head so bad.
That's something I said when I grew up. If I ever had kids, I would never do my kids that the way my mom and my mama did me.
Girl, that drove me up a wall. I ain't gonna lie, a part of me does want to do that too much.
Bitch, you like my sister.
At least just
my sister had my kid sister only has like one kid, okay? My nephew's almost 10. And she do him like that all the time. I be watching her on Snapchat, and she be like, he be in the camera, and she'll tell him to go do stuff, and then he'll go like bring it back, like bring her like a bottle of water, or bring her like the phone or something like that.
I low key do that to my brother. Like I would text him if he in another room and I'm in one room. Like I'll text him like, "Oh, Tut, you can give me some water, please." I try to be nice about it though, but I get why they did it, but at the same time, they was down bad. Really bad. Girl, but it's like those type of things. These babies do not owe y'all anything.
Don't say, "Oh, I had a baby because," sorry to interrupt you, but don't say, "Oh, I had a baby because I wanted somebody to love me." I get it. Believe me, I do. I get it. Because everybody needs love, but your child has to grow up. Don't keep your child like chained, as my mama would say, chained to your apron strings.
Not the apron strings, girl.
And funny she says that, but I'm her favorite granddaughter, but I'm not even the firstborn granddaughter. Again, I'm like the 8th. And I'm her favorite, but like for the longest time, like when I moved to New Orleans, she was not happy about that at all. Like she was very pissed off. She didn't call me for like a month. And her saying that is so funny because she didn't follow her own damn rule. Because it's almost as if she feels like, oh, because she had a hand in raising me,
right, that
I owe her some kind of loyalty aside from her being my grandmother. And that's another generational curse. We got to stop doing it.
Right.
Just because it's your favorite child. Because be honest, parents have favorite children.
This is very true. Yeah.
But and grandparents have favorite grandchildren. Mm-hmm. Don't feel like your grandchildren and your children owe you something other than loyalty. You know, like they owe you their life per se, and that you feel a way about their upbringing that you had a part in, and you feel like, oh, well, you need to do this and do this and do this.
I want for people to have that same energy when their kids or their grandkids are doing bad out in the world. Like when they fucking killing people.
Take them in. Yeah, take them in.
Make sure you have that same energy because you too still had a hand in raising that child, and that child still decided to do what the fuck they were doing.
Exactly.
And you won't act like, oh, my baby would never do nothing like that.
Yeah, don't do that. Use that
No.
energy, like B said, and take them in and reel them in and realign them.
Right.
Don't just push them out and don't have nothing to do with them because they've been on a fucked up path.
Because
it may be a reason why they was on a fucked up path. Like, think about, like, okay, in New Orleans, I'm gonna tell New Orleans business. We got this whole thing with carjacking and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. It's so bad.
The young children, the youth out here, they don't really have nothing to like grab their attention for real. Cause you have to think, we in the middle of a pandemic. They not really physically in school. They doing virtual school. Their parents probably gotta work. It's so many elements as to why they may be doing it.
Right.
And as their parents or their family or their village, if they got a village, need to reel them in and not just shun them because, they in a fucked up situation. Yes. They probably follow, most of the time, kids follow other kids doing dumb shit. Be honest.
Yep. That's basically
some kids are the ringleader and some kids are the followers. And you have to realize which one is your kid.
Yeah, that's very true. I feel like people don't like to be aware, and that's a big problem. They like to, again, sweep shit under the rug. Mm-hmm. Y'all know how black people do, like to sweep everything under the rug.
Family secrets.
They don't want to express their feelings. They don't want to acknowledge what has really happened in a situation, even no matter how bad it is. Like, y'all, we have to do better in providing safe spaces for people to actually feel. We have to provide better spaces for healing, for us to be aware and take heed to what's really happening. Like, when bad shit happens in the family, we need to acknowledge that. We need to nip that shit in the bud, period. No matter if it's sexual abuse, if it's fucking alcoholism, if it's domestic abuse, whatever the case it is, that shit needs to be said. It needs to be acknowledged. It needs to be addressed, and it needs to be handled. We cannot just sweep everything under the rug. If y'all struggling, if you poor, you need to be talking to somebody to try to get yourself up out of there. That's another thing, because I just fussed at my best friend not too long ago, where we get ourselves in these financial binds because we feel like we have to do it ourselves. And I get it, you don't want to be a burden on anybody.
But see, that's a generational thing. Exactly. Because as black women, period, we always have been the ones that have to shoulder the brunt of like everything. Right. Our taking care of ourselves is last on the list, but doing for everybody else is 1 through 10. Right. We are taking care of ourselves at 11. So that's a black woman generational thing we have to stop doing. Is we have to stop taking on everybody's everything. Right. And thinking, we could do it ourselves and not asking for help.
And I don't want to say it's just black women, because it's black men too, because they always get into their ego and they feel like they have to be the head of the table, but they fail to acknowledge that sometimes they can't be at the head of the table because they're not in a situation, or they're not in the circumstances where they can be at the head of the table. And instead of communicating with said partner, with their friends, or with their family, support system, whomever they have with them, instead of communicating that, they get themselves in this hole, which causes mental health issues, which causes poverty, which causes suicidal thoughts. It causes a whole bunch of other problems because you decided to keep this to yourself when your help was probably on the other side, on the other fucking line. All you had to do was pick up the fucking phone and be like, you know what? I'm hurting right now. And explain what it is. Nobody likes men. Y'all need to nip that shit in the bud. Women, black women, we need to be more open and understanding when men do say such things. We need to also acknowledge the fact that we cannot hold everything. We cannot be everyone's savior. No matter what that man is going through, you got to remember he's a fucking man. He got to handle his shit on his own. You cannot handle everything for him. Men, you got to remember, you do not have to do everything by yourself. This is the reason why you have partners. This is the reason why you have support systems. We need to be using each other. We need to understand, like, that is a curse that has been placed on us for a long time, and that shit needs to be broken. like today, like yesteryears. It needs to be broken. Like, come on, y'all. Let's do fucking better, please.
Right. And let's break this curse of the stigma of going to therapy for your deep-seated issues, traumatic issues that you probably need to talk to somebody about.
Exactly. And with you saying that, there's a lot of ways we can break these curses. Mm-hmm. And I mean, like, we kind of touched on them lightly, but at the end of the day, before you can break any type of curse,
you have to be aware.
You have to heal yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you need to heal your goddamn self. And you know, we say this all the time, people. Go wear dumb.
To therapy.
Thank you.
Take your fucking ass to therapy. Bruh.
And even if you can't go to therapy, I'm not even saying you can't go to therapy, because you have ways to get to therapy. Even if you choose not to go to therapy, you have other ways that you can heal yourself. You have other ways where you can get through your own traumas, where you can learn how to heal your own shit. You need to do that before you try to save anybody else. Okay?
Right.
That's the first thing on the to-do list. Do that.
Be aware of what things plague you from generations before that you may not have thought about, or mistakes that you made in the past that you don't want to repeat. Mm-hmm. Like, be aware of all of it, honestly, and then put it on the table and be like, okay, this is where we're gonna start, and then work your way through it.
Yep. I also feel like more people need to talk to their family they need to be more open and talk with their family and try to get like their family history out of, and figure that out, because that's the only way you're really going to know what curses plague you. Because again, we like to hold a lot of secrets. So once you actually start talking to people, like talk to your grandparents, talk to your parents, talk to like your great aunts, your great grandparents, like if they're still living, talk to people in your circle, talk to people in your family that know the history. And once you really understand the history, you understand what they've been through, you get a different perspective of how and why they were moving the way that they were.
Like we said in the ancestral trauma episode, that's basically it. Like, they may have been moving because they were trying to heal from a trauma, but didn't know how, or didn't have the tools at the time. And they were just doing the best, surviving, basically.
Exactly. And I think that's necessary, and because not a lot of people acknowledge the elders. And they have the most wisdom, because like, bitch, they didn't live this life 30 fucking times.
Really have.
You just get here, bitch. They didn't lived it, passed it, came back, tried it again, and kicked it to the curb. Like, they just waiting to kick the bucket at this point. Y'all need to talk to them. And they like to talk. They like to share stories. Talk to them. Once you break through that first little trauma that they didn't, whatever that little wall that they be having up sometimes, because some of y'all old fuckers are just mean as hell.
That's how my grandma was for a long time. And then we started, after my nanny passed, like a couple years ago, almost, she started opening up, like, emotionally, because they've been closed off. That's how they've been taught to survive, is to shut everything down.
Right.
And like, after my nanny passed, she just started getting better with like opening up. And like, we started asking her stuff. And at first, we used to ask her the same shit like years ago, and she cussed us out. But now we ask her stuff, and she be so open about it. And I think she just became more vulnerable, without her road dog, I guess.
Right.
We used to ask her about like how she was when she was younger and stuff she probably wouldn't want to talk about, but she did. Or like, she used to tell us about how the reason why her and my nanny was so tight was because they used to fight together.
Of course. And them old people, they some rowdy people, baby.
I said, Grandma used to fight? Mm-hmm.
Talk about the ratchet, okay? They was the ghetto for real. Them people was,
They used to fight, and then like my other aunt, my grandma's younger sister, she's still living, and like they used to fight her boyfriends, or whoever her man was at the time, if he wasn't treating her right, or if he was beating on her, because then domestic abuse was a thing, but it wasn't really like talked about or really addressed. It just was old.
They dealt with their shit at home.
Or it was like oh, I'm dealing with it, I'm surviving, or he doing this for me, it's okay, it's all right. But no, my nanny, my grandma used to bust them men's ass. Like,
As they should, because they probably was playing with them.
Yeah, they used to fight, hit with cast iron skillets and everything. Used to fight. And she never did tell us that until literally the year that my nanny passed. That was like 2 years ago. She started finally telling us stuff from like how they used to live. Right. Or how when she was young and had children, she was still like, I think she had my aunt when she was like 19, maybe 18 or 19, so young. And she would leave to go out to the juke joint in the country. and my nanny told us this before she passed like some years ago. And she was like, yeah, your grandma used to go out to the juke joint in the country. And I used to have to whoop your aunts because they'd be hanging on your grandma's leg and she'd be trying to catch a ride. I'm like,
they're trying to hold her back, baby.
This was when when I was in college, my grandma used to try to fuss about me going out a lot because, she was there in the same town where I was going to school at. So she used to try to fuss, but she'd give me money to go. But she would fuss about me going out. And then my nanny would say, they'd be sitting on the porch, my nanny would say, well, why she fussing? You ain't got no children around here. I don't know what she fussing for. At least your children ain't chasing after you while you're trying to go out and party. I was like, I said, who did that? She's like, your grandma. She ain't never tell y'all she used to go to the juke joint. That's how she got your mama and your nanny. What?
That lady was living her best life.
Girl, my grandma still like that. Like if the casinos wasn't closed and she wasn't scared of COVID, that's where her ass would be at. Girl. She still be trying to live the best of her life, child. I ain't gonna stop her.
But like that's the whole point. That's why I love talking to older people too, because you would not realize like the life that they led, like what they was really doing. They was doing exactly what we were doing. It's just they did it before us.
The circumstances were maybe a little bit different, but it's the same shit we be doing. That's all.
Same thing. Like when my great auntie, like she would always tell us about how they used to go to different little parties, like the little sock hops, the little parties.
Oh, they used to call them rent parties where people be like needing rent money or whatever, and then like they charge people to come through the door.
Like they used to have fun back in the day. Honestly, I would not have mind to be living back then because they used to get dressed up and just go like to different spots and just have fun and dance and just cut up for real. And so I love listening to older people, but doing that, you really get to understand what happened in the family dynamic, how they got to where they are, why they are the way that they are, and then that in turn tells you a lot about your own story, and it helps you to figure out, okay, what do I need to do for me in order to live a better life, in order to have something better, so that I won't pass down these same traumas or these same issues from the past, you know. So like that is so important, and there's a lot that I want to make sure that I instill into the next generation of my family, and a lot of things that I want them to be aware of, but I don't want them to get caught up in, per se. Like it's really important to know where you came from, where you're going, and then where you're at. Like it's so important. And saying that, I would love to like really do like some type of ancestry type of ordeal just to really know like, okay, where did I really come from? Because talking to my family, like, bitch, I done came from all over the world, if you want to be honest about it. Like, there's no way, I don't understand how it's from Mississippi. We got people in Chicago. We got people in California. Then we got people in Florida. It's like everybody just all spread out, and I'm not understanding, like, okay, so how exactly did we get all out here? I do know my great-grandfather, on my Mimi's daddy, he was a Rolling Stone himself, and he had a whole lot of different families. Like, he really did. He was just train hopping or something, bitch, because...
Probably. Girl, hitchhiking.
Girl, it's crazy, but I want to really like learn my family tree, my family history, so that I can get a better understanding of where I came from and how I even became this teedie that I am. I just want to know.
You probably was somebody else teedie in a past life.
I probably was.
I often wonder that sometimes, like, who was I in a past life? Or I started recently, like a few months ago, doing the ancestry research of my dad's side of the family. Only because that what sparked that was because I moved here all by myself. Don't have a lick of blood family here. And so I was like, I'm not in trouble. Like, I feel warm. I feel like I've been here my whole life and feel home.
Right.
Like home. And so I was like, it's gotta be a reason why. Come to find out, the little bit of research I did do was because we do have on my dad's side, there's family in Monroe. And it goes back a little bit further than that to like the slave trade here. And so I was like, damn. Okay. And I wanted to do more.
I feel familiar.
Yeah. I wanted to do some more research, but bitch, I ain't got $100 for that. I don't think we should be paying anyway.
I don't think so either. I really don't. But I would love to like get into it or get back into it because I did try to do it years ago. But I stopped because, again, like you said, they started charging. I'm like, I'm good. I'm going to stop right here. And then like I want to do like the whole little swab test too, but that's kind of scary. But then I'm like, well, you already give blood, bitch. They got your information. You might as well just go ahead and swab it on down.
And I mean, they already track us with our phones. So
This is true.
I mean if the government want to find me, bitch, you know where I'm at.
They want me dead, bitch. They gonna kill me. First.
My only thing is with the DNA swab with Ancestry, it's like, don't use my shit to like find a criminal in my family. I watched a Law and Order episode where that actually happened. They made this episode of the show, Law and Order SVU. That's my show, y'all. And this girl did an Ancestry DNA swab to find her family.
Right.
And this is how they found a rapist. They went to the girl first, and she was like, I don't know who that is. They was like, is somebody related to you? It's like a fourth cousin or something. And she was like, we got the same last name, but I don't really know who this is. Come to find out, her mama knew who it was. And he was a rapist, like a serial rapist. So that's my only thing with it. Like, don't use my shit to go find. Well, if you're a rapist, yeah, you deserve to get caught.
Right.
But yeah, don't use my shit for no other shit.
Girl. Yeah. And I don't even think I would want to use Ancestry. I would want to use the what's the other one?
The 23andMe.
Yeah, 23andMe, because that one, it actually takes
it breaks down like your
what tribe you were from, like exactly where you came from, what
I be
region,
forgetting about that one. I want to know that too.
And they black owned too, so I definitely think I want to do that.
I did not even know that.
So I definitely want to do that one. But I'm going to pray about I'm going to pray about it before I do it. I've been praying about that for about 15 years now. I'm gonna keep praying about it. Catch me in another 15. I'll let you know what I decide.
I might do that for my 40th birthday or some shit. Just be like, damn. Sometimes that really be kicking me in my ass. I'm really 5 years away from being 40. And oftentimes with these generational things, I be thinking about, like, what was my mama doing at 40? She had a house full of children. What was my grandma doing at 40? She had a house full of children. Me, I ain't got
about
no
to go
children.
back to living your best life, traveling and shit.
Pretty much, yeah. As soon as the corona lift, that's what I want to do.
Yeah. Lord knows I need me a trip.
Oh my God, I need to be laying on somebody's beach.
Okay.
Bitch, somewhere shit. Santorini me, please. That's been on my bucket list for a long time.
Yeah, I like that.
With them clear blue waters.
I like that. Yes.
And that beautiful sand.
But I feel like we covered a lot as far as generational curses. Everybody, y'all should know, everyone has them. Everyone got their issues. Everyone got their secrets in the family. It's now time to really just break that shit, man. Like, we're not living in the same day and age as it was before. We have all of the resources, the tools to do better in our lives. So why not do it? Like, it's there at our fingertips. Why not do it? Like I said, man, heal yourself first. Go to therapy, heal yourself, and then you can figure out the rest from there. What else you got, Durham?
Nope. You touched on everything. Take your ass to therapy. Especially after the year we had. Take your ass to therapy. They got virtual sessions available, so ain't no excuse.
This is true. So
they got free therapists. If you got Medicaid, if you got Blue Cross Blue Shield, they got all of that. Check it out.
Like we said, the resources are at your tip of your hands. You just got to go ahead and get them. With that being said, make sure y'all follow us on all social medias: Twitter, RPB_podcast, Instagram, Run Punch and Beignets podcast, YouTube, Run Punch and Beignets podcast. Make sure that you email us if you have any questions, if you want to collab with us, do some type of partnership, sponsorship, whatever that may be. You can email us at rpandandbpodcast@gmail.com. Visit the website rpandbpodcast.com. Catch the new episodes, catch old episodes. We will be getting back to the giveaways. So I think we're going to do a little break for right now. And then we're going to catch y'all again with some more heavy hitting giveaways. Make sure y'all are ready to follow directions. Okay. Follow directions. And on top of that, like, if you got any questions, if you just want to talk to us, if you want to tell us more about this episode, let us know what generational curses you're trying to break. You can hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on Instagram, hit us up on the DMs, whatever your preference. Just holla at us. And then make sure you catch us this week and next week and every week after that. We'll catch you next time. Peace.